What up, you guys? This is Steven, and welcome back to another photo analysis. This time I'll be analyzing the cover of Gen Hoshino's album, Yellow Dancer. Alright, so let's begin. When I look at this album cover, I'm thinking, okay, this is either extremely artistic or extremely ballistic. It's like either extremely genius or extremely not genius, you know? But there's a lot going on in this photo. I will say the background is probably the most simple thing, or the simplest thing. I wish that the typography would have been yellow, since the title is Yellow Dancer. Um, let's see. I'm not quite sure if this is supposed to be like symbolism, or either it's just an artistic piece that is not really representative of the album title. But yeah, we got a lot going on here. We got like a cat, some bananas, looks like some tape maybe, some books, some plates, a fork, some electrical cords, a coat hanger, some clothing. There's a lot going on here, you know. This possibly, like the artistic piece itself could possibly be a part of like some museum exhibit. And it looks like the title of the books are in English. That's interesting, considering that Gen Hoshino is Japanese. But perhaps, I'm not sure if Gen did this himself or either he commissioned some people to do this. But I will assume that Gen did this himself, since he seems to be very involved in his artistry, in the work that he puts out. And it looks like there's some like lingerie in there too, by the way. Yeah, like some gloves. Like, what is going on here? I don't know how to interpret this, But I will say this is a very interesting piece of art, possibly representative of maybe consumerism, intellectualism. I don't know. I'm not sure how to interpret this, to be honest. It's maybe this is why Gen did this, because it's so up for interpretation that anyone could come up with an interpretation for it. I will admit, when I first saw this album cover, I was not interested in doing a photo analysis of this album cover. However, I had listened to some of Gen Hoshino's music, and I was like, wow, this guy is really talented. He writes and produces and sings all his own songs, all his own songs and all his own material. So I felt like maybe I should go and do a photo analysis, and that's why I'm here, because I will admit, when I first saw this album cover before I listened to his music, I was not really checking for it, So that's why I say that it is important to have album covers that appeal to people, And I guess the reason why this album cover didn't appeal to me is because Gen Hoshino was not on the album cover. And that just made me just feel like, kind of like, I don't know, a bit slighted, as a consumer or a potential consumer. This work of art is, very, very interpretable. Let's move on to the next photo. The next photo is the promotional photo for the album, or is a promotional photo for the album. And it is a picture of Gen Hoshino with, wearing a suit and having a banana. I'm not quite sure what this is supposed to represent, but at least there's yellow in the photo. But, you know, um, I don't really see the theme of this album being interpreted, which I assume is Yellow Dancer. Um, but, I think that Gen Hoshino looks nice in this photo, and this photo does sort of grab your attention. So I think this photo is ultimately a win. Um, in my personal opinion, I think that this is the better of the two photos, because Gen Hoshino is in the photo, and as well as a bit easier to interpret. Not that, well, I shouldn't hold that against the album cover, but I will say that this photo is much more marketable than the album cover. And marketability is very important in the music industry. But I think Jen is probably one of those guys who's really, really just about the music and not so much the image. But in order for him to continue to have success, you do have to be aware of your image, and how you look. Personally, I think that Jen should try and incorporate elements of the album cover and elements of himself into a photo. That should have been what happened, So he was able to express his, artistic side, but also have a marketable album cover. But what do you guys think? Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. Your feedback and support are extremely appreciated and extremely valued. Until the next photo analysis, adios and goodbye for now.